Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Sorry we're a little bit late. We had some stuff to sort of take care of before the stream and took a little bit longer than I expected, but we're here and we're live. So this session's probably going to be about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if everyone is able to stay till 8:30 West Coast time. So I will get started with saying how my 2 weeks went. My 2 weeks went really well. My hands finally fully healed up. So this Sunday, I am going back to my regular full streaming schedule. I'll be streaming on Sundays, Wednesdays, and then, of course, Fridays, as we've been doing, because, well, the pen and paper role-playing game doesn't take as much in using of my right hand as the other stuff does. So anyways, continuing from that, Meg, how have you been doing for the last 2 weeks?
Pretty good. Time in Salt Lake was really nice. I got to see everyone I wanted to see, plus some bonus people that I had not expected to see, so it was really great.
That's good. I should have had you stop by Utah Trikes for me and take a couple pictures. I don't know. If you like riding bikes at all, you will have had a fun time at Utah Trikes, riding around on the different trikes that they have there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind riding bikes in Salt Lake. I kind of like it, but here in Portland, the roads are too narrow and I can't see around corners because roads are so short and you can park right on the corner. So I just feel like it's a little hazardous for me in this area. Yeah,
exactly. But so next time you're in Utah, check out Utah Trikes. Stop by their shop and check things out. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Cool.
And you'll ask them about the Cat Trike Expedition, and you'll see the trike that you'll get a chance to check out the trike that I'm always riding around in. That, or just come and hang out. We'll have to go hang out sometime, and I'll bring the trike. Because mine's electrified.
Nice.
How about you,
He
Ro?
will make you to give it a test drive.
Oh, yeah. Always. How about you, Ro? How have you been doing these last couple weeks?
Things have been going pretty good. Just tonight, I was picking up my daughter. She was babysitting for the first time. And so that was a big step for her.
Start charging your rent. I mean,
she's got a few years before we start charging rent, so.
Well, start getting her in the practice now.
Yeah.
That's what my mom would always do. I never got an allowance. And the reason being is when I'd ask for allowance, she's like, I'll start charging you rent and you'll actually owe me money after doing all of the chores. I'm like, okay, no, you're good. So, Xavi, how about you? How was your last couple weeks?
They've been doing pretty all right on here. I'd actually been doing unfortunately, I've been cheating on you RPG-wise. I'd got a minor character over in another one that I've been poking at. Nothing like on stream or anything, but a little play-by-post. It's kind of fun.
Does this mean I have to get a lawyer now?
What are you going to do? Keep half the PCs?
So, when we left off, we were in the middle of a fight, I believe, right?
Yep, it was Q3. We had a couple spider cavalry, or skeletons mounted on giant spiders, acting as cavalry. There were still a couple of skeletons on foot, well, underfoot for the most part. They're not really doing a great deal of good over there. And probably more importantly here, you had Sir Caleb and his companion Elosar, who had basically plowed through the middle of everything there. And then the real enemy, a strange blob of blackness shaped like a rat, that Caleb has actually just basically smacked with after he got his sword glowing, unlike all the stuff the skeletons had been doing, which just kind of dissolved when they tried shanking it. Let's see. So we've got, both spiders are still up, although one is, it's down 2 out of 6 eyes, so you're whittling away at it. I believe it's actual skeleton. I believe the actual mounted skeletons for them have come off at this point. Yeah, they're the ones that are on the ground right now. And we were over at the start of the round, starting over with, Sylvan. We got your favorite spider buddies, one of which is on your side of the fight with all of them. Though luckily you do still have a, kind of sickly looking guy floating around in between you and them. So that makes you safe, right?
Oh yeah, always. Do some adjustments here. I forgot to bring out.
I forgot the chat bar again.
I did, so the screen's off. Resized it again. Where I need.
I mean, what I'm gonna try to actually do here soon, like ideally this weekend, is just go through, just wrangle something in RPG Engine. Though, have we got that confirmed? I know it can work with you on here, but Ro and Mega, are you able to use that with your current setups? At least from the client side?
What are we trying to access?
RPG Engine.
Yeah, we poked around at it a bit before we started this off, over towards the end of Chaos's campaign.
I don't think I've figured out whether I can or can't. I haven't looked at the software for that and tried.
Are you able to run City of Heroes?
Yes.
You'll be able to run this.
Okay.
It's low poly art.
All right. So yeah, it should be.
All right. Yeah, because I figure if nothing else, we can just get everything through that, just get a solid screen on it, and
make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah, a little bit. And honestly, I really wanted to get the music back in because it helps set the mood on my side. I think it would help out your side too.
It would. We really gotta figure that out. We need to set a day to actually do that. Just me and you sit down and figure that out. That way, when it comes to Rose time, if he's wanting to do music, we'll already have that figured out. So, anyways, continuing on with the campaign.
Yeah.
It was my turn, you said, right?
Yep. Yeah, you got
just a reminder.
2 spiders. Yep.
Avoid the rat's ability to absorb energy.
Yeah, it does seem to be kind of antithetical to anything magic, aside from the guy's glowing sword. That one was an exception for some reason.
I'm still working on the spiders. I have no choice.
Yeah, Selma's got her priorities.
Yep. Those spiders are gone first. So I get 3 attacks, I know that. And I'm going, that spider that I've been shooting at in the eyes, I'm going to do the same thing. And so those are normal shots, right?
So they're normal shots, but because you're going for the eyes specifically, that's going to be a called shot, which makes it basically 1 degree harder.
Okay, so it's a minor challenge.
Yes.
First roll. Ooh. Got an 8 on the roll, but then I add my combat value to that, right?
Yeah, so you add your base combat attack, then you add your ranged attack pistol, so the actual score off that gets you +2. And then you've got the base attack combat mastery, so you're going from 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've actually got a 16 on that roll.
Yeah, 16 on that roll. Okay.
All right. And because we're not really in the surprise round at this point, Spider's actually got a chance to dodge, though given the fact that it's got some of its eyes shot out at the moment, and my throat trying to lock up, so I will say that it's also got a minor obstacle at this here.
Okay.
That's because it's having trouble. And of course, trying to beat a 16 when it's a spider, they're kind of agile, but it's also a very big spider.
Yeah.
And all right, you got another shot that lands home. Okay. And all right, it's now down 3-8.
Going to shoot again. 4 plus 8.
Yeah, it gives you a 12.
12.
Wow. And the spider still does worse, even with that terrible roll you've had.
I know. If it could have gotten the 6, it will beat me.
At least in raw dice.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see if the stats would be enough to make a difference there. This one I don't even need to check its number on it. All right, so pop squish goes another eyeball. Screech goes the giant spider that is having an awful time of it here.
And my third shot. 5, 6 is 11.
Well, except it's 5 plus 8, so you've actually got 13.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so not to be too graphic, but the spider is somewhat leaking. It's still mobile, but it is stumbling and just staggering around.
Now, when you say leaking, is it a dribble leak, a squirt leak?
And you want me to break out the purple prose for this?
Details, man. Details.
There's a lot of that kind of flowing all over the place, too, as, of course, spews from the hideous wounds that you've inflicted and coats the ground. And well, I can't really say it's rancid gore because it actually kind of dissolves shortly after it comes in. So that is one nice thing about this dungeon. Monsters are self-cleaning like that.
So no skeletons slipping on slime or anything like that?
No, or tripping over each other's bones. They just, after they go to pieces, they only really last a few more seconds. But there is this gold dust all over the place again.
That doesn't give Mag's character much to throw around then.
Yeah, I mean the axes are like the actual equipment, those seem to last a bit longer. Like their existence is separate from the skeletons themselves. Though still somewhat tied to it.
Okay.
Though actually, Meg, go ahead. Let's just give me a quick mind check.
Me?
Yeah. Just for something that you may have noticed.
Okay. So it's just a normal roll.
Yeah, you don't have any skills to really give yourself an edge over on this.
Okay, so 6 plus 5 is 11.
Okay. All right, so from what you can see of your magic, you do notice, like as you're holding on to that axe that you picked up in the previous round, there is a very, very tiny trickle of energy going from, basically you can trace it from you to your partner, through the tentacle that it's using into the axe itself, where it just kind of swirls around and kind of traces around its shape, almost.
Okay.
All right, and that is 3 more of Scyllin's limited number of bullets, which you're going to need to find a solution for soon. But, all you have to do is not die or let your companions die, and you're going back to a base camp, so maybe you'll find something there.
That's the plan.
Yeah. And of course, instead, you're focusing on the spiders rather than the threat. But hey.
Not
right.
by choice.
It was your choice to put that flaw on there.
I had to make the character interesting.
All right. And actually, speaking of, since Leonov just did that check, Leonov's actually the next one up. So you got yourself a battle axe. You got some skeletons that aren't being terribly useful at the moment, as I believe they just got dismounted. You got one spider that's in terrible shape. You got one spider that's currently unharmed. And you got the void rat. Well, plus you've got the other two that you may or may not trust, but I'm sure you don't plan to backstab them right now, would you?
Is everybody within reach of me?
So Illusar is basically kind of on the far side of the rat, but aside from the giant walking armor, yeah, you could melee any target of your choice in here with your partner. If you want to do personal melee, you've got a spider, but that's it.
Which spider is within personal melee?
The one that's leaking. But that's like your own physical arms, not the... which don't really have the bonus or the axe or...
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, in that case, I am going to hit the one that's already leaking with my gauntlet, which has minor edge.
Okay, so you are going to...
Does the gauntlet count as unarmed attack? I mean, because it's basically punching. It does.
Yeah, basically it... Item weapon... Opponent gauntlets... Yeah, so it's weapon level 4, minor edge. So it does boost your damage a little on there. Let me see what that takes you up to... Okay, yeah, so effectively that adds up extra levels of damage to actually take advantage of the basic multiplier. So you're doing more than just like a couple points. So it actually makes it a relevant weapon.
Okay, yeah, and if it's the messed up spider, I'm hoping I can just, with a good shot, I can take it out and have the minor edge on it. So I'm going to try to attack that. 10 plus, if it's an unarmed strike, 17.
Well, okay, so you're saying, but you're using the gauntlet there, so that's basically your personal strength. That's not your projection. So this is effectively your personal action that you're using on the spider, then, right?
No, this, I basically was using the minor edge basically just because with the gauntlet, I get a minor edge. I don't necessarily need the super strength.
Yeah, because your super strength wouldn't apply from the gauntlet on it. Yeah, so the minor edge just makes it easier for you to hit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going with your basic combat on here, because I think this is the first time that you yourself have actually punched something. I just got to double check a couple things. All right. Yes, we got the 5 base, we got that times 5, so that would be... Okay, yeah, so that would actually be 10 damage that you're doing off of that hit. And you're just basically aiming just for the spider itself.
Yeah.
Just has basically a body shot on it.
Yep.
Okay, so as it's staggering around on here, let me actually see if it staggers out of the way of the hit. I doubt it, but... Yeah, I mean, it actually almost had a chance. But yeah, as you just actually swing out just to clobber it with your fancy little gauntlet there, you land a solid body blow, and it's kind of rocks back, skitters around trying to catch its balance on it. It is... Yeah, it continues to have a bad day, but it's not dead.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to try to just bring the axe down on it. My second attack.
All right. Okay, so this one will not count as unarmed, so you're going to just have your base attack value on this one. But your actual damage that you're going to be doing should be going much better.
Yeah, so 9 plus 5 is 14.
Alright. Okay, and also, especially since it's already blinded and it has been directly knocked off balance here, so really bad day for the spider, major obstacle. And somehow it actually still gets a decent roll. Right, so that was here. Alright. Sadly for the spider, even though it's basically its best kind of stumbling dodge yet, it still just is not enough here. Alright, so we got Battle Axe, that is level 3 on it, so we have... Alright, so 3 times the multiplier, so that is 21, plus your 5, so we're doing 26 damage off of that. And it's... Unfortunately for the spider on it here, normally its chin might help deflect the sharp edge of the axe a little bit, but you managed to catch it in a joint, and not only is it now down 5 out of 8 eyes, it's also down like 3 legs at this point, because you got a nice wide sweep going through this guy. It's at this point, with as much as it's leaking, it's you know how spiders are actually technically they're hydraulic powered, which is why you see them curl up afterwards.
Yep,
it's doing that now. It's lost too much fluid, and you're not sure if it's dead or not, but it's definitely curled up, and it is no longer moving or screeching. Okay. It's out of this fight.
I sigh.
And then I'll use my third action with the tentacle just to essentially strike a defensive pose.
Okay, so just get yourself the minor edge if something takes a swing at you then.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Ro, you are up.
All right, so on the first round, I believe I put down an ice sheet.
Yeah, that's why the dismounted skeletons aren't doing really much of use right now, because they're stuck in the middle of that.
All right, I am going to flap my wings a little bit, and I'm going to fire my shotgun at skeleton.
All right. And yeah, I would say there is enough distance between where the skeletons are stuck and the knights that you're accompanying here that they are going to be out of the area of effect on it, so you don't need to worry about friendly fire. So let's go ahead and have your roll. And that drops you to 4 of 6 charges on it until it's able to come back there. Yeah, so if you got the chat up, should be able to hit the normal on there, and should just roll you a paradise.
Trying to, but every time I hit it, it's just changing frames on me. So I'm just I'm doing this different from previously. So
if it's not cooperating over on your side there, I can always just hit it over on my side just for now. Then we can poke around at that later.
Yep.
All right. All right, so you've got an 8 over on there, and then plus 6 because you're using the shotgun. You've got some skill with that. The number to beat is a 14, and unfortunately, due to the spread on that, they've got a major obstruction. And worse on it there, not that it actually can get worse, and they're also stuck on the ice. So if they had any advantages, it would definitely be nulled out. So we go 1, 2. Yeah. Lightning dances across the bony boys on here and sends them twitching. You've got little sparks of lightning that kind of dance across the surface of the ice as well. Though you do notice that the ones over toward closer to the rat side of the ice, they're actually getting pulled off of it and drifting through the air before they vanish out. Like they've run out of juice before they can get over there, but they're definitely being influenced.
Okay.
All right, so skeletons are 24 electric. Yeah, they're upright. Well, technically speaking, they're upright, but they're doing a bit of a dance right now and not able to accomplish a whole lot else.
All right.
Nice shot. All right, and now we've got over on the far side, the giant armor or Losar has basically recovered from their charge of just stomping through with a horribly efficient shield bash. And we kind of pause for a moment. They seem to scan over the battlefield. And then they just bring up this one massive slab of metal that calls itself a shield attached to their forearm. And just wham! Bring it straight on down towards the rat that's as it's still reeling from Caleb's strike. Doesn't glow or anything, just a giant chunk of metal easily wider than the rat itself is on the short axis. All right. And yeah, the reverberation just shakes the room. The skeletons that are dancing are knocked off their feet. You can feel it over on where you three are. And okay, so Leonov, you're hovering, so you can still kind of get that feedback from it. But if any of your, and okay, so technically the only person who would have to worry would be Scyllin, but given that she's not currently having both of her legs in cast, her natural balance is easily good enough that it wouldn't be a problem. But, and you definitely, back where you are, you feel the shock travel up to your knees at least.
Okay.
And yeah, the ice itself kind of just, for a moment, it just stays unnaturally still, and then the ice itself shatters, the fragments flying up into the air. And through all of this, you can actually see a little squirt of shadow stuff kind of spread out from where the rat is/was. And it does start to eat into the dungeon floor briefly, but then with a sizzle, that too vanishes. And you can't really hear if there's anything else going on from that spot at the moment, but the spider that's remaining after all of this, something just seems to kind of jerk it upright. And now it is actually looking not at where the rat was. It actually seems to be focusing throughout the rest of the room. And let's see what its mini eyes land on first. 2, 3, 4. No, we got 5 of you. So, you know how cats always seem to go to the person who's allergic or hates them the most?
Bastard.
Yeah. I swear it's what the dice rolled. It rolled a 1, you're top of the list.
I heard the dice roll, and I was like, oh.
It's a bad day to be number 1 because the spider's attention is now solely focused on you, despite the other threats in the room. Well, the corridor. And it gathers its legs underneath it, and this sucker leaps.
I don't like this.
Well, I mean, let's go ahead. I want a defense roll, and this would be melee, which you don't have a skill bonus in. So it's just straight +6.
So roll normal.
Yep.
I got 4 + 6.
Yep, so you got a 10.
Hmm?
Unfortunately, the spider... Well, unfortunate for the spider, I should specify, it rolled a 3. It had nearly botched on it there. So, you know that bit where I said that, okay, yeah, they're not tripping over, like, the fallen skeletons? Well, those 2 skeletons aren't technically dead yet, so they aren't dissolving. As they're kind of scrambling, trying to get back up, they foul the spider's jump, and it effectively face faults into the ground right in front of Leonov. It's still absolutely terrifying for the moment it's airborne, but it's well out of reach of you.
Yeah, so for anyone who can see my character's face, it goes completely pale white with a look of shock on her face to when it trips and lands to a sigh of relief and then pointing with one of her pistols and laughing.
I bet that made her day there. All right.
At first, no. After this fight, I think she's going to need to check her shorts.
All right, let's take a look at these skeletons here. Okay, so for one of them, apparently getting caught by the spider actually managed to bring it upright, and it's actually airborne over towards... Oh, this one's flying right towards the giant energy projection that is surrounding Leonov. All right, so since you've got a defense on here, you've got a minor edge. And this counts as a melee, so you've got a +2 over your base. So you're doing a +7 on that. All right, how do you want to handle the skeleton flying at you here? Because you do have combat techniques for like deflection and reflection here, and in a way, it's like it's a ranged attack.
Well, I don't have any action that I can. I would need to do have an action to do reflection. I've actually forgotten what lethal blow is.
Basically, it means that like without your gauntlet, without your projection, like just raw, purely unarmed, you can still do lethal damage with your bare hands. Your person's really good at punching.
Yeah, I mean, I guess since I don't have any additional action since I spent it on the defense to begin with, then because I would need to do do reflection, I would need to spend an action that I don't have.
Okay, so you can't send them at anyone.
Yeah, so I think it basically just essentially just knocking them aside in a way that like doesn't do damage, But yeah, that's applying the melee defense attack.
Okay.
But yeah, and since I basically already used like my own physical attack, then it would basically just be essentially like kind of using the tentacle to like kind of bat the skeleton kind of to the side and to the ground, basically, but not in a way that would do any damage. I guess since I can't attack to it.
All right. Well, rules are one thing, physics are another on it here. So as you've got what everyone who doesn't see magic, or at least who isn't focusing on the magical side of things, sees is you've got a skeleton that, through some stroke of luck, is flung through the air, spear first over towards Leonov, gets about halfway there, and then abruptly changes trajectory, just being smacked down into the floor. And I'm just gonna check here. Yeah, it lands badly and just scatters apart. Going airborne was not its best choice today, and a day of many poor decisions that it didn't actually have a choice to make in the first place. And that one's out of the fight. The second skeleton is basically, well, it's not on ice, so it is able to actually get back up to its feet, but it took its full action to do that. And all right, next we've got Sir Caleb, who so Sir Caleb, you see, so you can't actually see his face from the way he's going on here, but kind of reflected off of Elosar, you see kind of a golden glow come around from in front of him, and he's focusing on something, but you can't see him actually do anything. Like, from the flow of magic, you see something kind of flowing out from him, and like the visual effects, obviously there's something going on, but he's basically still standing there, like sword ready, sword still glowing, but he makes no move at this moment. And from under the shield, where the rat was, you've got no motion over there. So we have a face-planted spider, a skeleton with a spear that is just barely on its feet, and Scylla's at the top of the round.
Okay. I want to call for a break. I need to stretch a bit.
Okay.
So I'd say 10 minutes. Everyone cool with that?
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We will be back in 10 minutes.
All right. See you soon.
Okay, we are back, and it was my turn. And I don't get a choice on who I get to attack. So we all know I'm going to attack the spider. Once again, I'm going to shoot out the eyes.
Man, you're just being so mean to these poor spiders.
Gee, I wonder why. Ooh, that was a bad roll. 2 + 8, 10.
Yeah, dice-wise, that is the first botch we've had.
Yeah.
Is it 2 like an automatic failure? Like when you say botch, like I'm not sure if the rules of this game actually have a botch where it's like if you get the lowest possible roll, it's a failure, even if your bonuses would have put you at the top. You know, like a 1 in D&D.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not actually sure on that here. It feels like it should be. Let's see.
I have my fingers crossed, my mind going, no. And Meg, you're supposed to be on the player side, not the GM side here.
I'm just wondering how the rules actually work, because I would say that if you had like a major edge, I would think that basically, well, yeah, in that case, you would have to roll all ones for it to be a 2. So yeah, that never, yeah.
Still, Ro, not Ro, but Meg, you're a player. You're supposed to be on the player side. The object is for us to win.
Now, the object is for whatever causes the most fun. And, you know, this gunslinger has been blasting away for pretty much all day on here. It's suddenly reminded that she hasn't actually reloaded yet. So you're staring down this horrible monster in its moment of vulnerability. You go to take your shot. Click.
Oh!
I mean, you've fired 15 rounds so far here.
Yeah, but from okay, so here's the question. How many rounds does each clip hold?
Well, you also had, I believe you'd expended some previous to actually reincarnating here as well. So this is what you'd had.
It really depends. It really depends. Is this a game that tracks every single bullet, or is it just the idea of, when you're shooting, like you can say that you fire off 3 or 4 rounds and that counts as one attack?
I mean, someone's kind of working off action movie physics, and unfortunately, because of that roll and how much you've been shooting, it is dramatically appropriate that you've ran out of ammo at this moment. You still have your other megs.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with the GM because I know what happens when you argue with the GMs. Things go bad for you quickly, and the more you argue and the more complain, the worse and worse and worse it gets. Am I right?
In the video game, a little thing is popping up on the screen saying "reload, reload."
Yeah. And because of my nystagmatism, I'm ignoring that reload and trying to. So, okay, I'm going to spend. So that's one action. Second action, I'm going to spend to reload the guns.
Mm-hmm.
Third action, I'm going to pop at the eyes this time, and you'll have. If I roll ones again, you're gonna have to come up with another damn excuse. So half of me is sitting there going, roll once again. The other half of me is going, don't roll ones again.
Well, if you roll once again, you can just say, you went to load the guns and you were so fast that you see the magazines pop out of the guns because you didn't slam them in tight.
No giving help to the GM. Come on, guys. You're supposed to be on the player side here. Oh, thank God. Okay, so that is 15.
All right, and okay, spider at pratfall here, so actually trying to get a dodge. Oh man. If it actually been on all its legs, that would have been a great roll for it.
Yeah. So are you saying I have to thank Mag for this?
Let's see. Follow the order on here. No, technically, this one is Ro helped you on this one because Ro got the.
Oh, the shotgun. Yeah. So I have to thank Ro. Still learning the characters.
Hmm. All right, and yeah, man, a lot of what you've been doing so far on here, this poor gentle giant of a monster has once again had its eyeball cruelly popped with a nasty squelch and spurt of fluid. How could you?
It's easy.
It's point and click, right?
it's point and click and go, good, it's taking damage. I mean, hey, at least my character's not in the corner cowering.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd actually have to get within arm's reach for that.
Oh, yes. and yeah, I tell you now, if that one that jumped at me would have made a jumping move, my first move would have been to run away.
I mean, I don't think you need a phobia for that to be valid.
True, but giant spider. Okay, talk to April. Ask her what she would do if a giant spider jumped at her.
April's phobia is as bad as Cylin's for that.
Yeah, that's who I'm basing it off of.
That works, son. Yeah. All right. Leonov, you've got an eye-bursted spider flat on what's technically its face in front of you there. And you've got another skeleton that has wedged itself up to its feet with the help of its spear. What do you want to whack?
All right, I'm going to take the axe to the spider.
Right.
That's only a 10, I believe.
Still good enough. Okay. So as it's trying to right itself, you've got a good angle on it here. I mean, you only get 2 of its legs this time instead of 3 like you did on the other. But it has lost the balance that it was trying to recover. And I'm pretty sure you've got Cylin's eternal gratitude over there.
Oh, yeah.
And a mess that is spreading and vanishing at equal rates on it. And that's the first of your projection actions. You got one more on the personal.
Okay. And then, so did you say that the how far away is the skeleton that you said was trying to stand up?
So basically, it's past the spider, but it's within stretch reach of your projection.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and try to take the skeleton out as well.
All right.
14.
All right, 14 there, and all right. So it's so you've got just this swipe with the axe, just parts the spider's legs like paper on it there. Then backswing comes around, just crunch. Skeleton's head is yeah. I mean, if it was a hammer, its head would be down around its ankles, but in this case, it's left it beside itself here. Just vertical split right down the center. Clatters, dusts. It is gone.
Okay, and then I'm going to use my personal action for a defensive pose again.
All right. And reset yourself for the next attack on it here that may or may not actually happen. And Ro, you're up. Your shotgun is still, I believe it, you'll have to Yeah, basically I have to load another shell into it if you wanted to take a shot there, or you can try something else.
What I'm going to try and do is, and I'm going to try and get these guys to work together a little bit. So I'm going to suggest Liamon and Ceylon work together, clearing skeletons and the spiders.
And to be fair, all that's left is a spider at this point.
So roll. And I get 9 plus my 4 is 12 plus, so that's what I. So for inspiring, I grant +4 to skill group. Stat was to +4.
All right, so yeah, so basically your combat rolls for the until this basically wears off, which I think is I think it's just until effectively the end of the scene, isn't it?
Yep, it's for the scene.
Yeah, so you both get +4 on your already monstrous attack rolls. Well, and defenses too, I would say. As long as you're attempting to work together.
Spider and the skeletons.
Yeah, but there are no more skeletons, so on the spider.
Spider.
Yeah.
It's my turn.
All right. You want to try your hand at doing the speech, or you just want to let the dice speak for you here?
All right, you guys. It looks like Ceylon hates spiders. Everybody, kill the spider.
I hit a button on my phone that does a cheer emoji, or I mean a cheer sound effect.
There's Leonov.
Yeah, I just pivoted
behind all this,
basically with the axe overhead.
All right, motivational speech finally works. Well done. You might be getting a handle on these two mugs. And beyond your epic battle with the crippled spider, you've got Elisar kind of there's a shift of metal as they lift the shield up. You see there's a dent missing out of the bottom of it, but they kind of, you can see them visibly lean over and peer at where they had struck, and their arm kind of clank, creak, clank. It goes back over to their side, and they straighten up, and they seem to be watching your fight with great interest. They're standing ready, but they are not currently moving to intervene. That spider itself, and it upright. Well, and technically it's got enough legs to be able to do so. Technically, it does. Practically speaking, it is what passes for its nerves on here are just on fire from pain and damage, and it is just. If you're within close range of it, you might catch a leg. So let's actually. Oh, so we do have. Go ahead, give me a melee defense, Leonov.
Melee defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even without getting your edge over on that one there, it's flailing is too uncoordinated. The one thing that even comes close is just a simple brush block to ignore it. It is, quite unfortunately for the spider, completely helpless. And Sir Caleb his sword has dimmed down and he's turned around. Oh, and he's watching You three face off against the spider now, stroking his glorious mustache and giving kind of an appraising eye on how you're all handling yourselves. Scyllin, you're up.
Okay. Once again, to the eyes of the spider. It's 16 for the first shot.
All right, and yeah, because it botched so badly on there, it actually, effectively, it is helpless on this one. So yeah, pop.
Did that 16 include my extra +4?
No, so 20.
Yeah, super pop.
Yeah. 15 on that one.
Yeah, even with a terrible roll, pop.
$19.
All right, so with your flurry of bullets at the helpless spider on it here, and not only do they pass through the eyes, you've managed to pass through something more critical, and you see it just kind of, it goes stiff for a moment, and then so it hasn't lost the fluid necessary to just curl up. So this spider instead is just gone. It's splayed out and it's not moving.
Okay. I put out a sigh of relief. And then also wipe my brow.
Yeah, and this fight is over. We're back to real time. So there's the slowly dissolving remains of the giant spiders. You've got the bits of skeleton. You've got the cold dust just covering the floor all over on here. The axe that you're holding on to is still retaining its structure, but the spears have been dropped. The other axe, those are vanishing over as well now. And there's just this crater over in the floor by the two armored warriors that you were following on the way here.
Okay, so with the gold dust, didn't we like roll that up last time, basically?
Yeah, we did. I got some sweeping materials from my forge to help with it.
With that gold dust.
All right, you're going around collecting it all?
Yep.
All right. Zillan, how you do? Just assisting with the collection?
Yes.
All right, and it was in your case, you weren't able to touch it by hand on there, but I believe when you were using the tools provided by Oriel, you were able to have some effect on it.
Yeah.
All right, so you busy yourselves being dungeon cleaners, and as you're doing that, you see that Caleb and Elisar are doing a similar thing. They're focusing just on their one area where they were rather than going all over. They seem to be letting you go get the majority of it. And you do see that Caleb has pulled out a pretty decently sized golden sphere like you've got, Leonov, and is holding it over towards Elisar. One giant gauntleted hand is kind of hovering over it, and you're kind of out of the corners of your eyes, you're working. You're seeing kind of a stream of gold come off the sphere, and it's flowing over towards the armor's damaged shield. And the gap in the bottom of it, the oddly rat-shaped one, is filling in as you watch.
Ask him, what's the deal with this gold dust? I mean, is it useful for anything other than patching up armor? shields, I guess, in this case.
Caleb looks away from what Elisar is doing. I mean, he keeps holding the sphere up, but he doesn't actually seem to be focusing on it himself with any particular effort. So he's able to half turn over to you and address your questions. It's like, oh, my friend, yes. This glimmer is the stuff of creation itself. So long as whoever is controlling it knows with their heart and their soul what form it should take, it will obey.
I wasted a skill.
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay, yeah, true. Not necessarily, because I'd have to have the understanding of how bullets work, be able to create it, so at least I don't have to have like a forge and go from that. How many bullets do I have?
I had tracked you as using 18 out of your 60. Yeah, if you didn't have that technical skill, I mean, you'd know what a bullet looks like and what it's supposed to do, but you wouldn't know a bullet properly like you do with your skill, because, I mean, I assume at this point you've made them. You've worked with hand loading. And it's not your life is dedicated to the bullet, but for what it is, there's not really much more you need to know to be able to properly envision everything about it.
Starting to wonder if I get enough of this stuff, if I can use it to complete my set of armor, basically based off my mentor's design that my gauntlets and sabatons came from.
I mean, it is the stuff of creation, and you are the one who's holding the party supply, aside from what they're working on right now. Is that something you'd want to give a try for?
Well, don't know how much it would take, and also, like, I don't know, I don't have any interest in depriving these other two from potential benefits of it.
All right.
If Silas
maybe
is
later
needing it for some weapons or whatever, then we can also, of course, just divvy it up into like 3 separate spheres, I would assume, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually put your mind over towards it and just kind of, is what I've been doing before was it just naturally collects onto it there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once you actually realize, hey, I can manipulate it, it actually, you can split it however you want with just a few moments of thought.
So someone uses her phone and types out to ask a question to the night guy. I lost track of the name, but can how often do we run across mystical type creatures like that rat shadow thing?
So it's things for a moment on there. The void creatures are not a common threat, but they are a persistent one. Maybe every 3rd to 5th cycle, we'll notice some skulking about, but we can't really rely on that number, so we have to keep constant patrols to make sure that they haven't formed a nest somewhere unfortunate.
Okay, next question that I type out is, what harms them? I noticed that physical things such as like bullets and regular weapons do no damage to them. What causes damage to them?
Well, either a direct blessing from the gods, purpose made for fighting back the void, or a sufficient true matter, such as what the glim can be formed into, is capable of harming them, but as you can see, as he gestures over towards the shield as it repairs, not fully without cost. True matter, purely from outside the dungeon, is incredibly rare at this point in our expeditions, as most people's gears have been enhanced and replaced and repaired. So there's something less than natural about almost all of the equipment that you would see in this place now. Yours, maybe. But I suppose we'll have to wait to test your weapons against the next one that comes across.
What other kind of forms of this creature has this void energy taken that you've seen?
It seems to mimic most base creatures, vermin and just things that the scuttle and crawl in general on it. There have been rumors of void people that have been spotted, but none have reported such in any way that we can be certain of.
So before we ran into this encounter, were we on our way to like sort of camp? There was.
I thought we were kind of wandering around trying to find our bearings in this place, since the cat girl said we weren't strong enough to go to the next level.
Yeah, but when we met the soldier and the knight automaton kind of thing, or the knight and the armor automaton, I can't remember if they had said something about.
They mentioned there was a place that was a camp, but we weren't really heading that way. They were still tracking this void rat. So we still don't know where the camp place is unless they show it to us.
Let's ask more about that camp then. Like, how far away is this camp? And are the people there trustworthy? How many people does this camp comprise?
No, it's a kind of gives off a laugh at your flood of questions on it here. It's like, oh, if I were a poet, I might describe the camp as being, well, if I were a poet, I would have the words to be able to describe it. And instead, you may have noticed that the distance that you travel isn't consistent or always leading into the same location. So, for those who have not yet been to the camp, such as yourselves, simply follow us and we will bring you there. Otherwise, you may have to spend either, if you're fortunate, minutes or days wandering at random until you find it, much as with any of the other areas of note within these grounds. And he kind of gestures onwards there as the armored form appears to be fully repaired at this point, and kind of re-pockets what's left of this gold sphere somewhere. You can't quite really tell because the armor doesn't exactly have pockets. But one moment it's in his hand, one moment it's not. And they're leading their way down the corridor. As for if they're trustworthy, well, we have no choice but to trust each other with our lives in these times. There are some who I would advise caution around, as you have met the beast previously, but for the most part, they are good, stout people. Or the unfortunates who are just unsuited for this endeavor. That's a little regretful at that one, and shakes his head a bit. And the numbers, it varies from cycle to cycle, but we do keep a healthy core of guards and tradesmen maintain a solid supply, you could say, for those of us who still calling this level our home.
And do we want to follow these guys back to the camp, or I'll ask them, when are you planning on going back to the camp? Or are you planning on doing that after the tracking this rat?
Really good with following them back to their camp, seeing some of these craftspeople.
I nod yes.
Emily, Shazana's like, why, we're on our way there now. As continue to follow us through the mists and take care not to fall too far behind. If you lose sight of us or your companions, it will be difficult. And they're stumping along at a rather more sedate pace.
I'll deploy my birds just to help make sure that I'm not losing contact with these people by putting them and some behind us. And
So I say we're at a good sort of stopping point. Do you guys want to continue for another half an hour, or should we just call it for the night?
It does seem like a pretty good stopping point. I'm getting a little hungry. I know that I could probably check in with the girlfriend to see.
Okay.
And let's just start next time off at entering the camp. So that's a good way to start off the session there.
It is. So I know that this session was a little bit short, but that's okay. And I want to thank you guys all for watching and have a good night. Oh, before we leave, do want to remind you guys that this Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's 5 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be City of Heroes going back to the mastermind builds that we've been doing of the double pets. I know, Ro, are you going to be there?
Yep. And just a reminder to people that since we're just moved the servers, therefore the old manifest does not work. You'll have to use the new manifest. Make sure you get that set up with launcher.
Yes, definitely. And you can do that through PER's Discord. You just go to how to connect for the City Heroes section. In there, they have the new manifest in there.
And I have been following along. She's moved to a new place. She still doesn't have the new server up, but she's hoping to have it up on like Saturday sometime.
Cool. Well, here's the thing. If for some reason it's not up by that time, we'll come up with something else to play. But anyways, once again, thank you guys all for watching and have a good night.
Night, everyone.
Night.